there was some questions. I said, remind me to ask me, or remind me, you to remind me to ask. And there was a couple for Vincent.
Yeah, so one was, we were talking about before we left, refinancing. And I asked,
correct,
is there some trigger within your asset that says, yeah, it goes up by 5?
What he's really asking me is, what's the trick? What's the trick is what he's really asking me. Remember how 95% of the time, what does the CEO founder do, or the founder, if you're not CEO? Money, deals, right? But what I should say now, and I didn't say, so I'm going to correct, is money, refinance, and deals. Because you're forever trying to refinance. For example, Greg buys ABC, whatever. Okay? He's talked to 20 financial institutions. Let's just make it easy. Or 26. It's 26 letters in the alphabet. A does the deal. Okay? A does the deal. Well, you've talked to A through Z about the deal. So you go, depending on who you talk to last, you either go to B or Z. We got to refinance it. Because they're not going to refinance it that week you talk to them. It'll take a month to refinance it. And by that time, you've implemented processes, procedures, systems, add value, et cetera, et cetera. You know, you filled out the building, you've done this, you got more dentists, more doctors, whatever the model is. So you're always refinancing. And you're not waiting to try to outguess interest rates. You're not waiting to outguess the market. You just do it. You're always doing it. And why are we refinancing? Because, weed man, we want to pull money out. Remember, we're not like the schmucks that we're buying from. Those guys have worked all their lives in their little pennies and their fingers to the bone to sell to some moron and get rich. No, because they never pulled any money out of the deal. They have to get rich off of one deal, where we're going to pull money out of every transaction. And in some transactions, we're going to pull money out not once, not twice, not 3 times, but as many fucking times as we can legally. We're forever refinancing. Now, that's an exaggeration, forever, but I mean, we're refinancing. And if we have several properties, several acquisitions, I mean, you know, we may be at the first stage of refinancing our second acquisition. We may be at the latter stage of financing our acquisition from 5 years ago, but we're always refinancing. And that's why the banks love us, because we're creating legal fees. And don't argue with them when they say, we're going to have an acquisition fee. And then you say, well, listen, you asshole. Fucking 15 months ago, what has changed? Nothing. Here's the update of the financials. Here's the update of, why am I going to have to pay another fucking fee? Don't argue about that. Just pay the fucking fee. Don't argue about the fees. Just pay them. And then they loves you. But I'm not suggesting they're going to do anything illegal, immoral, unethical. But, you know, when Vincent comes in and says, I want to refinance acquisition number 6, I'll send over the paperwork. I'm sure we can get it done straight away. Straight away. And then when you have a good relationship, as one of you mentioned this morning, that we can probably make that non-recourse. And don't act all giggly when they say non-recourse, like you never heard it before, like a fucking schmuck. Oh, okay, just matter of fact, non-recourse. Non-recourse for the morons, no liabilities on you. Okay, so you're always refinancing. Always is an exaggeration, but I mean, you're looking for money 95% of the time when you're looking for deals. And the irony, not the irony, but part of that, when you're looking for deals all the time, you'll find additional finance. And when you're looking for finance, you find additional deals. Because it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. So back in that day, I mean, I was forever running around. That's it.
So would you ever recap and say when we're a little bit down the line, when we have investors or something, recap and use that instead of putting it in your pocket?
Okay, explain to me what you think you mean by recap.
So you're taking out a loan. You got you got investors, they put 100K in, or let's say 5 million in. Recapitalization, you get
you refinance the whole project, recapitalize the whole project. Are you talking about 20, less like 10 or 20 different deals? Okay, now the danger when you do a complete refinance or recapitalization, he's using all these big words like he knows what he's talking about now, is that the financial institution will want to cross-collateralize, and they will want a collateral, they will want a blanket over everything, all the assets.
I think you want to preemptively cash out your investors. They own.
Well, that's fine, but I mean, you're going to have to refinance the whole deal to do that. You call it a recapitalization, but you're going to have to refinance. So you want to take out investor A group and replace them with investor B group, or better yet, not with investor B group, but all commercial bank.
That's right.
Okay. Well, I mean, but when that happens, all the collateral, all the properties, all the acquisitions are likely to be, okay, that's a great idea, Vincent. We'll do that. But we're going to take the whole motherfucker as collateral in one fell swoop, and it'll be more difficult to take money out in the future. Okay, well, I'll fucking all these terminologies now. Yeah, Joe.
Yeah, how long do you wait? Like, say I do like 5 acquisition in like 2 years. Like, how long do you wait before you refi in your first place that you?
Well, I mean, as I was telling Neem, I mean, I'm starting to refinance it the day after we close.
Now you mentioned.
When you say it is our intention not to come back to the capital markets, it is. But attention, hope springs eternal. It is your intention not to cheat on your significant others. I know you. When you said it, you meant it. It's my intention not to come back to the capital markets. I told you the story. It's worth saying again. Back in the day, Baring Brothers was one of my biggest investors. And Lord Baring Brothers, unfortunately, after 600 or 500 or 1,100 years in business, some fucking trader, currency trader, some shit in Hong Kong or someplace, took the company down. And they wound up selling for $1, 1 guilder, 1 something. Okay. Well, this is before that. So I'm at Baring Brothers headquarters in London, and Baring Brothers was like a junior Rothschilds, and I mean the halls had Van Goghs and Monets, and I mean the place was just beautiful. So I'm giving a presentation. In those days, flip charts. This is before PowerPoint kind of thing. And Lord Baring was there. I believe the guy's name was Peter Gunn, was the chief investment officer, and a couple other guys. And so I give the presentation, and then we have lunch. In those days, everybody drank like fucking sieves during lunch. And Lord Baring is walking me back to the lift, because the Brits are proper. The lift meaning elevator. So we're walking down the halls, looking at all these hundreds of thousands of dollars of paintings and stuff. And we get to the lift, and like Alfred Hitchcock movie, and most of you guys have heard this, as I step into the lift, I say, Lord Baring, is there anything I could do to make my presentation more succinct, add more value, blah, blah, blah. And as the door's closing like this, he's standing there, I'm standing here, and he leans forward, he says, Mr. Peña, I would learn how to stutter. And he leans back. What he was telling me is I was too fucking slick. And in those days, I was slicker than baby diarrhea. I mean, there was no better salesman in the world than me. Okay, but I said, it's our intention not to come back to the capital markets. 5 months later, I'm back. And we're having a rights issue, meaning we're issuing more stock. So I get up to do my presentation. I got my flip chart bullshit behind me. And I go, Lord Baring, Mr. Gunn. And don't wire me some fucking shit about making fun of people that stutter. Fuck you. Anyway, and they stood up, Gunn stood up and said, they all laughed. He says, we take up our rights, let's go have lunch. But they were trying to tell me I was a young guy that was too smart. And I took it on board, as they say. But none of you have that problem about being too slick, so maybe someday, but not today. But I practice. I mean, the hours, if I was getting minimum wage for all the hours I practiced. And so I was, at a relatively young age, a world-class speaker. But again, I've told you that I've emptied out boardrooms and halls from people throwing shit at me because they thought I was such a shitty speaker, you know. But but you're forever raising money, forever, ever, ever. And it's just the opposite of what you're taught in B schools, business schools. You're going to run the business. You're going to do this. It's all bullshit. First of all, Fred Smith from Federal Express, knows how to run a business after 40 fucking years. He didn't when he got out of B school. He's become a world-class leader and manager. But he certainly wasn't when he got out of business school. So what makes you think that you're going to be any kind of business, business leader that really is worth their salt? So you're always trying to refinance, to answer your question. There was another answer. Go ahead.
So the other question I have for you is, you mentioned that, if you work with one bank and, you keep on going back to them, and at the time that you want to refi, they want to cross-collateralize.
Correct.
So would you want to then work with different banks from the outset?
Well, when I say one bank, you're going to have a group of banks. And because one bank that can do 5 or 8 million, and then as you get bigger, they're going to add a syndicate to that group of banks. And we had 3 to 5 banks that would, I won't say fund anything that we did, but we never had a problem raising money commercially. But you want more than one bank. But remember, you're talking to 20 banks or 40 banks or whatever. You can never have, it's like Mrs. Who's the one that married the king and he abdicated? The king of England abdicated for the woman. But anyway, she said you can never be too thin or too rich. You can never have too many financial institutions. Mr. Sims, I think her name was. So you want to have a lot of conduits. You said you went to some shows or whatever. Then you'll start going to financial, same kind of programs, but financial. And it's easier to meet 300 guys and gals in a goddamn hall over 3 days than it is one by one. But again, the kids do it this way, and so they can probably have contacts with many. But you're never going to be doing 50, 80, billions deals on the motherfucking internet. That's a point I forget to make to the seminar. That will never happen. So for you cunts that are afraid to do a one-on-one, man up, you will never be a billionaire doing it on the fucking like this. That ain't going to happen. So you better get used to doing presentations. You might be able to do a few smaller acquisitions where there's little interface, but you're never going to be able to do big deals. Because big deals, they want to see the color of your skin, the color of your eyeball. So if you just want to, do a few millions in deals, then you can probably get away with it on the internet. But if you're going to do big deals, which that's what I'm training you for, and that's what QLA is all about, it's to create in 3 to 7 years, 3 years if you do everything right, 7 years if it goes wrong, in the same wealth that normally would be created in a generation, depending on how you want to measure generations, between 20 and 25 years. Okay, thanks, YouTube.